I am wearing my Roman, what is it?
Rambling
Woman. I can't even remember the name.
Are we allowed to cheers?
I think so, because we're not gonna...
We haven't drunk out of them yet.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll do the bottom.
Oh, well,
I did the bottom of my glass.
It's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
Rosé.
So, welcome.
Oh, hi. Yes.
I'm Marika.
I'm Coco.
And we're serial knitters. This is our first quarantine podcast, I guess.
I guess so.
We don't know how long it'll last. We're in Los Angeles, as I think we mention every show. So the governor of California just issued an order for everyone to shelter at home, which we're doing in my home currently.
Should I close this window?
Oh yeah, maybe we should. Sorry, I forgot.
Okay, let's get into it.
Cool.
Finished objects.
I
don't have any.
I'm wearing one right here.
Yes.
This is the Valentine sweater that I talked about what feels like years ago. It's still technically not quite finished because I haven't, like, all the fixes that have made it wearable are very temporary in an effort to see what fixes needed to be made to make it wearable. So now I know what I need to do. I just have to do it. I basically have to take in the shoulders. I can try and show you what I did. So I'm so turned around.
I know.
This one. So I basted the shoulders a little bit so you can see I took in about 2 inches off the shoulder.
Because it was coming to like a weird peak.
Right.
The way that the decreases went.
The pattern was so weird. The collar, this detail came out perfectly here. But for some reason, the shaping of the shoulders, there just wasn't any information on that in the pattern from what I could find. And so I was just like, and what happened was I wound up with a neckline that was huge. And so it just like falls off my shoulders.
Yeah.
So I did the basting to try and bring it in a little bit. And then that wasn't enough. So then I took a cord and connected the back a little bit. This is just scrap yarn for now to see how long it needs to be.
To try to keep it.
Right, to keep it together.
Because it comes to a deep V in the back.
Yeah, so this is the front V, and it basically mirrors that in the back. And so, yeah, I was trying to figure out a way to bring everything together.
So it's taken a little bit of
time for me to actually sit down and do it, and then it's going to take some more time. Now that I kind of know the adjustments that need to be done, I just have to do them properly. But it's a super comfy sweater. It's made out of the Woolfolk Far in color 27.
Love that name. So good. Color 27.
Yeah.
It's got a great ring to it.
But I love it. It's super soft because I think the micron count is the same as cashmere. It's also very warm.
So you're regretting that window closure.
Yeah. Might get a little dewy or more dewy throughout this. But I'm happy that I'm actually able to wear it. It's longer. It's like a tunic length. And yeah. I think it's a good sweater other than the lack of instruction on how to do the shoulders.
How many balls of yarn is it?
I think it's like 10. Wow. Maybe. Yeah, so also probably the most expensive sweater I've ever made.
Yeah. It's quite an investment piece. But with your adjustments, you feel like it's going to be completely wearable. And next winter, you're going to be ready.
Yeah, I'm going to be living in it. Looks good. I like that I can wear like a little scarf with it, you know, it's all...
Yeah, your scarf is so chic. She's got moto pants on. So I saw her from down the way as I was walking up and I was like, you look so good! From just screaming into the street. Because it's a good look.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So that's my first finished object. I have a second one.
Oh, great!
It's not blocked yet, but I did go back and rework the Oslo Hat. So let me see if I can finagle it on properly. I feel like blocking it will definitely help with this fold at the bottom, but you can at least get an idea of how it's gonna approximate. Something like that.
You're like a chic sailor.
So, yeah, it should get some more shape when I block it, but I think it'll work.
Are you happy with it now that it's over?
Oh, yeah, it's fine. I think it's good. It's not for me, so I think that helps make it okay. I made it for my dad, so, yeah, I'll block it, and I'm sure he'll be fine with it.
It's good. It's good color combination.
My dad is very much my coloring. All of my Scandinavian-ness is from his side of the family, so should work for him, too.
Nice.
Yeah, so those are my
So you had to unpick that bind off and redo it, but other than that,
yeah,
no big alterations from last time?
No. Yeah, it just, so yeah, it just got, redid the bind off. I did Jenny's, is it Jenny's, like, super stretchy bind off?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I just did that one because it seemed the simplest and worked like a charm. And then I just stitched it pretty loosely to try and maintain the flexibility. And
I would be interested to see how it's going to block out. Because I don't know if it's going to lose structure, you know? Like, get softer and more like,
Yeah,
that's a technical term.
But, yeah, so that one's done.
Great.
Yeah.
I just love this one. I just love how it's turned out.
I love the color so much. Like,
Yeah.
that was the thing that drew it to me in the first place was the color. And, yeah.
It's not a neutral, but it's a neutral.
It's neutral for me.
Yeah. It looks great.
Yay.
So now we're going to chat about work in progress?
Yes.
Well, actually, okay, I guess I have a finished object. I didn't think about it. So, last time I talked about my comfort zone poncho. Oh, yeah. And I dyed it. And it came out more purple, but it's kind of
it.
All one purple?
Yeah. Well, and on camera, it looks really gray.
It's purple.
But yeah, no, in looking at it, it's definitely purple. But it's like a deep purple that's really nice.
So here's what I learned.
So, yeah, what was the process of dyeing it?
So, I think I talked about last time I was only able to get the powdered dye. And I didn't want to try to put it in hot water because I was afraid that the wool would felt. So, I used cold water. And, you know, I'm kind of a just do it person and I'll figure out what I did wrong later. Here's what I learned. If you want something to come out black and it's purple, you have to cut it with yellow. I didn't have any yellow. So it just came out like more purple. Also, I put it in a bucket that wasn't quite big enough. So that's why you're getting this patchiness here. Here, I'll put it on.
But I don't know, I think the modeling
it's not bad.
Works. Yeah.
I can't ever tell what's the front and what's the back of this.
So a tag in it.
The only difference is like the split hem is a little longer in the back, but it never really
reveals
doesn't really
itself.
matter. Also, from blocking, like wetting this and then letting it dry, and you know, basically blocking it. The yarn, like, kind of released itself. It was a much tighter knit, and it was like very kind of like structured before when I tried it on last time. But now it's a bit like flowier.
Do you like that, or do you miss the structure?
I kind of like it because I thought it was a little bit too tight around the neck.
It's not restricting anymore. Yeah.
I just tried to push it the wrong way. This whole monitor thing is like really harsh on my vibe. Okay, so...
Ooh, got a little moire happening on the screen there.
Because it's a combination of a lot of things.
How long this is while I'm up.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the length of it.
So Marika is 5'9".
Yes.
And it's like just a little like high thigh.
Yeah. Not mid thigh.
It's long.
Just below crotch level, I guess you would say. If I was going to put it in vulgar terms, which
you just
did. So, okay, sorry, back to your poncho.
So, you can see in the light that it's a little marled still, and it came out very eggplanty, which is kind of funny because I made fun of the other color because it looked like Grimace, and now it like really looks like Grimace. But weirdly, I like it now. Mm-hmm. I think it's better.
I think it just toned it down a notch, because I think maybe what was happening last time is because it was that Grimace color in white.
Yeah.
And that made it really, like, stand out. And so now that you've taken the white down, the purple doesn't pop as much.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think so. So, it's, like, it's a little patchy. But I'm not sure that I hate that it's a little patchy. It's like, it gives it character.
Yeah. And since the yarn was kind of, you know...
the most patchy part right there.
And since the yarn was kind of, you know, marbled, I guess, before.
Yeah.
You know... I don't think it doesn't read as a mistake.
But I do like the like flowiness that it's got now that I blocked it. So that is a lesson in going ahead and blocking your knits. But it grew a bit longer than it was before. I used to, I think it was probably like an inch or two shorter before I blocked it. So I like how it's changed. I love this little shoulder detail. Okay, I cannot with this thing. Like, the whole time I'm like, which way are we going? I love this little shoulder detail, the little twisted rib that happens. Is it a twisted rib? I think it's a twisted rib that goes all the way down. Mm-hmm. So they've got a sweater version of this, you know, with proper arms. I think I'll knit that one next.
Oh.
One of the grocery girls knit it in like a beige. Or kind of like a rosy beige. Oh, it looks so elegant. But I am happy with my now deeply purple poncho. And if I ever want to dye it again, I can try to make it more black, but I don't mind it now. I don't mind it.
Nice.
So that's that. Technically a finished object until I decide like I want it to be blacker, and in which case I'll throw some yellow in. I tried to dip dye a bag, and it's hideous. I'll bring it next time when it's done drying. It's heinous.
All right, I look forward to that.
Yeah, it's really bad.
All right, so my work in progress is mostly the Christabel sweater that I'm knitting for my mom. So I finished the back panel, which is here, and then the two side panels, which look pretty much the same. You know, just with an arm on it. So yeah, I'm knitting the sleeves right now, and I'm trying to go visit my parents next weekend. We'll see if that's possible in all of this, so that I can block it there and fit it to my mom. She sent me her measurements, but you know, just make sure everything's good to go.
Yeah.
So the sleeves are pretty much the same, you know.
Are you gonna try to convince her to help you stitch it?
No. Okay, good.
I would do that.
That's a mattress stitch, so it shouldn't be too bad. And then the sleeves are pretty much the same, you know. I'm so sick of knitting flat. Like,
right? You don't like purling.
I hate purling so much. And so this is just the bane of my existence. So sleeves, they're not full-length sleeves, so I think they'll end about there. And then I can't wait to have to go till this is like 14 inches long. And then there's like a rib pattern at the top. And so I'm like, please just give me something that's of visual interest. I can't, like, flat, I can't do it. Like, I need cabling, I need color work, I need something.
This is very much a labor of love for your mother, because this is not a yarn you like to knit with. This is not...
I have had to do my nails like 3 times while knitting this sweater because this yarn snags on my nails so much, and so I have to keep them perfectly filed at all times, or else it's like nails on a chalkboard, like when the wool catches on your fingernail. I just hate that sensation. Yeah. And so like I have to like alternate nights of knitting and then filing my nails so that I can knit the next night. I hate this yarn so much. But yet I still bought a skein of it to potentially do the bouquet sweater in. And I'm like, I gotta have so many projects in between that so I can forget what it was like knitting with this. But I do think it's beautiful when it's knit up. Like I am really enjoying this color, and I like, you know, the variation in the color. You know, we've got yellows and oranges and blues in here.
So it's fun to look at as it goes.
Yeah, just the process is horrendous. And I think maybe with the bouquet it might be better because there's color work in it, and so it'll have that. But just knitting in this yarn and having to knit it flat is just, I hate it so much. But anyway, it'll get done.
It's Brooklyn Tweed Shelter.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know if we even want to say what it is.
Which, so you bought more of it?
I have 3 more skeins.
But you bought more of it to do the bouquet? What were you thinking there?
No, I just have 1 to do the bouquet in. I can go grab that real quick.
I'm just fascinated.
Yeah. I might have talked about this on my Make 9.
You did, but
I don't know if that episode got a little weird, so I don't know what happened exactly. So this is the one I bought. As you can see, my color preferences at work here. This is the one I bought for the
something
bouquet.
New and different for us.
So this is the one I'm knitting. The Christabel I'm doing in Tent, and this is Hayloft. And then I think I was gonna pair it with this.
Ooh.
To do the color work in the bouquet.
Yes.
So that was gonna be the color combo for that one.
Okay.
And this is a Purl Soho that I got at the warehouse, and I have no idea what yarn it is and what color it is.
It didn't come with a tag.
Yeah, there's no information. So, yeah, but that's the plan for the bouquet.
Wow. That will be striking.
Yeah.
But yeah, lovely. Okay. I have a work in progress.
Oh my god, I love it.
This is the love note.
That's so good. Oh my god, it's so fuzzy. I can't believe it.
It's so fuzzy. So, I wanted, just with everything going on, I just wanted something very cheerful and a little bit ridiculous. So, I went stash diving and I found that I had this, it's called Cirrus by Berroco Yarns. And it is a 42% kid mohair, 40% nylon, 18% merino wool. So it's a little bit synthetic, but just because of the nylon. And that's because it's got this chainette running through it that it's the mohair and the merino, I think, are all attached to. But, so it is exceedingly warm. It's probably not a good choice for me because I always run hot, but I just wanted something that was like cakey and fluffy. And when last week we were talking about how I was trying to do this pattern, but I was trying to use that really green mohair that I had, and I just couldn't figure out a way to make it work. So I thought about, like, what did I really want the sweater to be? And I guess because it's called Love Note, I just wanted it to be, like, so girly. Like, I wanted it to just scream something girly. So we were at our local yarn shop, Wool House, and I was looking at this Brooklyn Tweed Prairie that was in this color Mesa, which is like, it's like a pinky kind of terracotta, I guess, a little bit. And I thought, oh, I could hold that with a mohair. And I realized, oh, yeah, I just really want this thing to be pink. So I had spent a little bit of time, like, trying to figure out what mohair I could put with it. And then suddenly, in the back of my mind, I was like, you have this yarn. It's in your stash already. I bought this maybe a year ago or something like that. No, it wasn't that far. It was during the summer when I was having that whole, like, indecision, and I kept putting things in my cart and then not being able to decide what I wanted. Anyways, this was part of that big purchase, and I never really knew what I was going to do with it, so this is what I did with it.
I think that was a good choice.
It's so ridiculous. Like, it makes me so happy how silly this is. So I just have to do this one last sleeve. And I already steam blocked it for today because it was a little bit bunched up here because of the lace work. This pattern is so good. I know that everybody's knitting it, so it's, it's very popular right now, but it's popular for a reason. It's a very addictive, like, easy pattern to do. Like, it's just, even if you don't usually do lace work, it's very simple. And they give you both the charted and the written instructions, so you have both options, which is always fun because some people don't like charts.
Okay. This is so good. Like, I've never had the desire to make this pattern but now that I see this, I'm like, maybe I'll make myself a love note.
You could do it in Surrey alpaca, and that will be as fluffy and not mohair. So what I was saying about the head hole is, like, barely big enough to fit my head into it. And the bottom cast off is a little bit tight, and I did Lori's twisty bind off, and I thought it was a stretchy bind off, but it is not as stretchy as I want it to be. So I might have to pull this out and do the surprisingly stretchy bind off.
Jenny's.
Yeah. But the twisty bind off is fun. Like, it's fun to do. Like, you feel like you're kind of doing something fiddly, but fiddly in a good way. But it's not as stretchy as I want it to be, especially considering how big my head is. But this, we'll see how it feels after, like, I'm done with it and I finish blocking it and all of that kind of stuff. But I really love it, and I know I will not be able to wear it because it's so warm.
Yeah, you've got, like, another 9 months before LA gets cold enough that you could wear that for a day.
Yeah, but it's so good. Like, it's got these little flecks of, like, a little bit of purple, a little bit of white, a little bit more orange in this salmony color, and it's just so ridiculous. So maybe next podcast, I'll put it on for, like, a minute, and you'll see me just go into a flop sweat.
We'll turn it off. We'll turn the fan on.
Yeah. So this is almost done. I just have to finish this one arm, and if you're thinking about knitting this, don't be intimidated by the lace. It's totally accessible, and it's, like, I don't know. You could live your life, do what you want, but you could also pick the girliest, most ridiculous color you've ever thought of, and it couldn't be better. Like, I'm so glad I chose to do this right now because it's made me so happy in the last couple of days.
Maybe I should do that with all that flamingo I bought. It's not fluffy, but if I could make it out of that.
Right, so that, I don't know that it's showing up on camera, but, like, mine is kind of a coral. Marika's is neon in comparison to this kind of corally color. I think it's a little blown out, but if you saw it in person, hers is, like, hot pink. That could be fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Other work in progress, besides the Christabel, I'm still working on the sleeves for the Nightingale. I've taken a bit of a pause. I think too much of a pause where I'm not quite sure where I am in the pattern anymore.
I've got, like, 3 projects that are like that.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'll take some time tonight and figure that out because I would at least like to finish one of the sleeves. and see how that cotton's going to hold up in the structure.
Right.
Because shoulders seem to be my issue at the moment. But in the meantime, when I get sick of purling on the Christabel, I turn to this guy, which I had to steal the 4s for the Christabel sleeves, so I had to take the needles off of this. But this right now is just the point for my Purl Soho tee in the cattail silk. So that's where this is. It's bottom up, and then you do short rows, so it has this kind of, so it's longer in the front and back. But yeah, that's where I'm at with this right now.
Are you feeling any better about the color yet?
Not really. I'm not wigged about the color. It's just kind of...
And yet you continue.
Right, because, like, I'm taking your poncho approach where I do like the silk, and as it's knitting up, it's feeling really nice, and I like the drape, and so I'm like, okay, I'll just dye it when it's done. I'm not quite sure what color I want to dye it yet.
Definitely double check the chart and see what color you need to add to make it the color you want, because there seems to be a secondary color you're going to need every time.
Well, I feel like it's the same approach to dyeing your hair. So, like, when you dye your hair to counteract, or when you bleach your hair to counteract orange, you put blue in. It's like opposite color wheel. So, like, if your hair is really yellow and you want it to go to, like, a platinum, you put in purple. But I didn't know that it would, like, if you needed to go black, I would think black would just cover everything. I wouldn't think you would need to counteract the purple to get to black. I would think you would need to counteract the purple to go to a lighter shade.
Yeah.
But anyway, now we know.
Now we know.
So yeah, I'm not sure where I want to take this yet. I'm not sure if I want to see parts of this in the end, this color. For some reason, I think it was probably a result of watching Project Runway. They had a tie-dye challenge, and so I was like, maybe I could tie-dye this. But...
when I was looking up, after I already dyed my thing, and I was looking up, like, how I should have actually done it, there was ice dyeing. Have you heard of this? You basically, you take the powdered dye, you put a whole bunch of ice on top of the object that you want to dye, then you sprinkle the powdered dye on top of it, you let that dissolve, you know, the ice dissolves, and it basically tie-dyes your...
It's kind of like when you do, like, the bubble painting.
Yes.
Okay.
For pottery or something like that.
So, yeah, I don't know. But I've got a long ways to go before I have to make a decision about color. So, this one is also, I don't know, I have a lot of, I think why I want to go back to the Nightingale sleeves is because I'm really frustrated by both of these in that there's nothing of interest in it. Like, there's nothing to keep you engaged.
Yeah. It's just stockinette or it's purling.
Yeah, it's just keep going, keep going. And I'm like, I'm so bored. So yeah, that's where this is at the moment.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
It's the grind.
And I can't do anything else on this until I finish the Christabel sleeves because I only have one set of 4s.
Oh, so yeah, nothing doing there.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more. No, I've got 2 more work in progress. So I guess this is the Cattail silk moment because I too have been knitting with my Purl Soho Cattail silk, and this is not going to show up well. I don't think it's so dark, but what I have here,
there's a detail in there that
back up here,
kind of see.
So this is the Cedar pullover from Locatelli, and when I hold it up, it becomes so see-through that you can't really see the detail. There it goes. So every couple of rounds, there are these yarn overs that create this, like, it's not a ridge because it doesn't pop up, but it creates this little detail. And it's very subtle, and in this silk, you know, it's even more subtle. But I really love the fabric that this silk is creating, and I hope that it's not going to be too warm and it'll be very wearable in the summer. Concerns. Again, I use that twisty bind off, and I think it's too tight here on the bottom. The pattern has a lace detail on the bottom, and I decided to make it more simple and just go with the same twisted rib that's on the top for the bottom. But I think I should have made it longer. I tried it on this morning. When you don't have both the sleeves open, you've got, you know, you always end up trying it on with like one arm tucked in and the other arm is out. So I can't tell if it felt like it was too small. But it's probably because it was also like...
Because you had an extra arm in there that won't be in there in the end.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's not a problem. I'm not gonna decide that until I finish one arm and then I can put the other... Or maybe I'll put the other one on scrap yarn and then try it on again properly. So there's that. But then I think I should have made it longer because the pattern has that lace work and I just... Instead of doing the lace work, I stopped and I did the twisted rib. But I think I should have added one more ridge and then kept going down because it's not short, but I wanted it to be a little bit longer. Not quite tunic length that you've got, but definitely a little bit longer. I think it's getting overexposed. Yeah. Or is it because I just keep putting up this black object?
No, I think we're getting brighter.
You want to pause and...
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe that's a little better.
Put that down. Okay, so it's just a little bit short. And I want it to be a little bit longer.
Do you think you'll get, when you block it, it'll give you any length back? Or...
I might steam block it before I decide if I'm going to make it longer. But, let's see. I've got 2 sleeves to do, so that may change my mind. But I have a whole nother big ass skein.
That is the plus to this fiber, is like the cattail silk from Purl Soho is like 600 yards or something per skein. So it's like you get a lot of bang for your buck. It's not a cheap buy, but you do get a lot of yardage for that.
Because this is all one so far. And I have a little bit left over of this one. Let's see. Like a teensy bit. I've got a teensy bit left, but this is enough where I could extend the length of the body and then leave that whole other ball for the sleeves and
something else.
And something else.
I mean, make a tank top or something.
There's going to be some more.
Yeah.
It'll at least be like, I could do stripes and something else. But I love this green. It's got a little bit of like flecks of red and lighter green, darker green, all mixed in. So up close, it's like, it's very lovely.
Yeah, it's a really pretty green. I flirted with purchasing this a few times.
So they've got another one that's called like Fields and Gravel or something like that, where it's black, but it's got flecks of red and blue and yellow, and it's gorgeous. But it's also, when you look at it from far away, it doesn't give you that payoff that you feel when you're up close to it.
Yeah, you really do have to get like really up close and personal with these to appreciate like the depth of the dye work that's happening. And I feel like that's kind of why I'm disappointed with this one, is that it doesn't have any of those qualities.
It's just yellow.
It's just yellow, yeah. It's just kind of meh.
Yeah.
But we'll make it fun in the end. I don't have anything else.
I've got one more.
Working right now. I can talk about something I bought.
Yeah, we'll do bought after I do this one, because I also have one of those. When you have too much yarn and it's like tangled. Okay.
I know.
So
did you see my giant bag I bought? I did. It's crazy. I bought this thing on Amazon. I didn't think it would be that crazy. It's this giant round bag. Oh, Coco's gonna hand it to me. Okay, so this is what I bought on Amazon. And it's got like all these pockets along the side so you can put straight knitting needles in, which I was like, why did I even buy that? I don't knit anything on straight knitting needles. Everything I knit is like circular needles at this point.
But you own some,
I do own some. So it's basically like storage for the needles I'll never use again. But it does hold a lot of yarn.
Yes.
And
so you got your rug thing in here?
Yeah, the blanket I'm going to donate. So this is like, oh my God, there's so much dog hair on it. I'm sorry. This is the feather stitch blanket.
Look at how big it is now.
So it's the width of a queen size bed.
Yes, it is.
And then I'm just
so dedicated.
Whenever I get sick of knitting, I just jump over to this guy. So I've used up all this slate gray that I have, and now I'm into the regular gray, and then when I'm done with that, it'll go into white, and then it'll be done when I run out of yarn.
It is very plushy. Like, it's a thick fabric here. Mm-hmm.
So this is like, every one of these stitches is essentially 6 loops. Like, you do a loop down, a yarn over, a loop up, a yarn over, and so it's like, it's essentially like 6 loops per stitch. So, and it's reversible, which is why I like the stitch. So it's like, both sides are essentially the same.
Yeah.
You can see where I was like, oh, I'll try and like feather in this gray by doing like this like little thing here. Yeah. And then I ran out of slate gray too soon, so then it just goes straight over there. But I was like, it'll be fine.
I see.
Yeah.
Like the little Charlie Brown thing stops.
Yeah. Because I didn't start that early enough. Because I wasn't paying attention.
You didn't think about it.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until it was too late.
I can't believe that. So this is what you do when I'm just chilling.
When I'm sick of knitting and I don't really want to think. The only problem is originally I had bought all this yarn to crochet a rug from it, and I was crocheting it with the yarn held double.
Yeah.
And this is a single strand. So now I've wound all these balls at double, and so I have to unwind all the balls to rewind them singly. So I've just been kind of like doing that as necessary, but usually that's like a 2-hour process of like untangling all this yarn and then rewinding it back. So that's also why it's taking an eternity. But
I think it's a good choice, this bucket for things like this.
Yeah, to contain that. So yeah, that's what this giant guy is for.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here we're back to the knitting. We were talking about this yarn. So this is Knit Picks Stroll Tweed in their like limited edition Panther something colorway. I'll put it up because I can't remember it. And we were talking before about how I thought it was going to be black and gray. And it's gray and more gray.
With like little flecks of tan.
Yeah, from the tweed. I do love the yarn, and I am committed to making something out of it. So I first started knitting the Helichrysum. It doesn't roll off the tongue, but it's a nice pattern. I'm going to show Marika the photo. So this is what it looks like from the back.
Okay.
I'll pop a photo up.
Oh, weird. That's an interesting...
Yeah. It's got these little diamond-y kind of looking things in between some vertical ridges on the back. And then the front is just, I think it's a shawl collar or something like that. Oh, fantastic.
Just loading.
Anyways, so because you're shaping both the front panels, the shoulder caps, and then you're doing that back panel all at the same time, it was a little bit to try to figure out, and I wasn't in the right mental space. I don't know when I'm going to get in the right mental space to do things that are really complicated, but that was just not the level of complicated I was willing to do.
Yeah, it's because I did a similar, I didn't have the back detailing that this one has, but when I did the balloon cardigan from Petiteknits, it is like from the collar down, and part of the reason I chose the pattern was because it had minimal finishing work. Like, you do everything in the first pass, basically.
Yeah.
But it was very, like, you have to be on top of your row counts and, all this kind of stuff.
I struggle with
in
that.
order to do that.
Again,
yeah,
not the most dedicated, like, strategic knitter. I just kind of brute force everything. So then I decided I was gonna not do it because it was too much. Ripped it out. I wasn't too far down. I think I got like maybe 30 30 rows in, and I decided, okay, this is too much. So then I decided I would do this Purl Soho folded squares cardigan, which is what this is.
Ah, so it's like a reverse garter? Or reverse stockinette, sorry.
It's just garter.
It's just garter. Oh, okay.
So the whole thing is garter, which I decided I don't like. Yeah. I don't like it on the sleeves, and I don't like it on the back. I like it as an idea for the shawl part, like for the collar part. Mm-hmm. Like if this were, you know, like this, folded over or something like that, and then you had knitted body, I would be down for it. But when I realized I would be doing all of it just...
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
This, I didn't really want to do it. And then I was like, oh, I don't actually like the sleeve shape either.
Because it's a bit of a bell sleeve.
Yeah.
Like a very subtle bell sleeve.
And that's because you basically like knit a T. So this is knit flat, you know, all the way across.
So much.
I know. So you knit it flat all the way across, and then you're going to bind off. It's a free pattern, so I can tell you. But you're going to bind off and then work the back, basically. So you bind off for where the front edge is going to be, and then you work the back, and then you bind off where the other front edge is going to be, and you work all the way down. And you're going to seam basically these sides together. And then you put in a triangle for what the arms are going to be. And that's why it looks like a bell. Because you're basically knitting a triangle. So you're not getting smaller as you go towards the cuff. But I think I don't like it. So I think I'm going to rip all this out. Which is fine. It's not that many. But you're supposed to do 50 of these ridges before you get to do anything else. And I just don't want to do 50 of these ridges. So that's kind of a lesson in like what I thought was too intricate. I would rather be doing now that I did something that's so simple that I'm bored to tears with it. Not sure that I would actually go back to that pattern though.
To the previous pattern you had selected.
Yeah.
But find something else that is more intricate than just garter stitch for the rest of your life.
I'm not sure. Maybe I could go back and do that other pattern again.
I've got the balloon cardigan if you want it.
I don't want to do that one.
Yeah, okay.
You were very sad about that one.
Yeah, I still have to rip it all out and do it again in a smaller size.
So
it's piled on the table back there.
I'm not sure. I do like despite everything I just said for the last 15 minutes or whatever, I do like the yarn. It's just not what I expected of this yarn. And I like the idea of the first pattern. I just wasn't ready to do it. But I think now that I'm at home and I just have time, maybe I would be more receptive to it at this point. But because it's a cardigan, you do have to work, like you have to do the purl row. So it feels like it's twice as long. Because when I think about how long I've spent living with this yarn versus how long it took me to do this guy, it's like this thing has taken maybe 4 days.
Yeah, that guy, like the love note appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah. And look, it's so good. I like it so much. Anyway, so I know that whatever I make out of this is going to be like a workhorse, wear every day kind of thing. So there's value to that. I'm not sure what is both satisfying to knit and to have with this yarn.
Yeah.
So there's that one.
Cool.
Now we'll talk about purchases.
Yes.
Stashquisitions, as people like to call it.
Ooh, I like that term.
Yeah, it's fun.
So before Los Angeles went into full lockdown mode, we ventured out to our local yarn store. Well, not so local, but we love it so much.
Pasadena.
We make the journey to Pasadena to Wool House. Yeah. So I wanted to get a couple more skeins of the Brooklyn Tweed shelter, so I would theoretically have enough to finish the Christabel.
Right.
And then in the process, of course, whenever you go into the shop, you fall in love with something that you never had the intention of getting in the first place.
Yes.
So, one thing I purchased was this guy here, which is not super exciting. It's just a white yarn from Cascade Farms. It's the Heritage, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And I have like a list of projects that I would like to make patterns for, and one that is like I cannot get out of my mind and I'm super obsessed with is this like sweater poncho thing inspired by Joan Rivers in the Pee Wee Herman Christmas special.
I will attempt to find a photo. I'm sure it's
there. It's out there. I Googled it the other day.
You can give it to me from your documentation.
Yeah. And so it is just like this like dolman sleeve sweater, and she's, I don't know if you watch the Pee Wee Herman's Christmas special, it's on Netflix. But she's like on the TV talking to Pee Wee, and she's like, I think in context she might be like the center square on Hollywood Squares or something like that, and she's just talking to him, and she's wearing this white sweater.
Yeah.
And then at the very end she goes like, Merry Christmas, Pee Wee, and she lifts up her arms and it says Merry Christmas across her sweater when she lifts her sleeves out, and I'm just obsessed with it. And so I want to figure out how to make a sweater for it. There
is like, I'm not as ambitious about making patterns as Marika is, just because I'm not great at following patterns. So, like, I'm always doing weird stuff. So I just don't think I have, like, the dedication, like, the follow-through to make my own patterns. But there is, like, a lot of inspiration when you look at, vintage television. Because, what is the show? Cheers? Like everything that what's her name? Shelley
Long?
Everything that Shelley Long, every sweater.
Shelley Long.
It's not Shelley Duvall. It's not Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall is The Shining.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So,
I was worried Shelley Long was The Shining. Okay, cool.
Every single sweater she wears is like, oh, I wish I had it. I wish they made it. Like if,
yeah, I feel like the more and more I knit, the less and less I like garter stitch.
But it's just knitting. Like, it's just, like, you don't have to purl.
But visually, I just don't like how it looks. I don't like the
bumpiness
texture it gives you.
Okay.
Like, okay. So anyway, sorry.
Rant.
But anyway, so yeah. So I bought that to start testing.
Yeah.
To potentially do a pattern for that sweater inspired by Joan Rivers.
Okay.
So we'll see how that happens.
Yeah.
I've never made a pattern before. I feel like it's going to be a one size pattern kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it's Swan Show-esque. You know, I'm always like, should I be making that Swan Show? Should I not make the Swan Show? Should I make the Swan Show? Should I not make the Swan Show?
So another thing I bought that was unintentional was this guy here, which also,
oh my gosh,
keeping in line with my favorite color
Everything
scheme.
You're gonna pull out of that bag is gonna be mustard.
So this is from West Yorkshire Spinners, and I did buy some of their yarn when I was in Scotland from Ginger Twist, which her shop is still open. She's doing online orders, and you can pick up from her shop in Edinburgh. But anyway, shameless plug. It's a great, cute little shop. So this is their signature 4-ply, which on the label says, perfect for socks. And I have never knit a pair of socks before. It's weird, like, basically the only thing I've ever knit are sweaters and cardigans. Like,
yeah.
I kind of jumped in. One hat. Oh, yeah, one hat. I jumped in feet first to, like, the full-on, I guess, knitting experience.
Yeah.
Run before you walk.
No scarves here.
No. And so now I'm like, maybe I should knit a pair of socks just to have the experience. And the pair of socks I want to knit is pretty intense.
The most ridiculous socks you could pick.
Yeah, so they are mid-thigh length.
What are they called?
I need to grab my phone really quick and look up the pattern.
Okay.
1 sec.
It's like life on hard mode.
But I think it was also an intense reaction to the
3 days of rain?
To just the boringness of what I'm knitting right now.
Oh, okay.
Just the like knitting around or like purling. I'm like, I need something that's gonna challenge me, essentially.
Here it is.
So let me go to my Ravelry page.
So they're deeply cabled, which is kind of the main thing you like about it, but you also like the extreme height.
Yes. So like socks, I'm like, if I'm gonna knit a pair of socks, you're gonna see the socks. Like there's no like, these are gonna be hidden underneath boots, like they'll be worn around the house. No, these will be statement socks, which I feel like is everything I knit is like, make it a statement, make it the star.
Yeah, it's very, I made this, you must say good job. Because
yeah, I do love that. I do love a good, I do love outside validation.
What is your love language?
Yeah.
Words of
affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah. Like the other, when we went to the knitting store, it was raining, and I was like, I am wearing my Roman, what is it?
Rambling
woman. I can't remember the name. My Rambling Woman cardigan. Like, I will take off my jacket, and everyone in the store will be like,
yeah. So these guys,
I need that. So these are called the Secret Garden Socks by Ziaparova Masha. So I'm assuming Russian pattern. I don't know. You're not gonna.
We'll
put like a proper picture up.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's like a lacework pattern that goes from the toe essentially up to mid thigh, and then there's like a rib. And so so that's what I saw.
It seems like it's memorizable though. It looks like it's...
Yeah, it's not like it repeats.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing is just going to be making sure measurements are accurate, because I feel like fit is going to be really key, especially through the calf and the knee.
Yeah.
And I do have, I guess,
developed,
or I was going to say meaty calves. So, so I'll just have to be aware of those measurements when delving into this. But they had 2 of these. I think I need 3 to actually get through all of the socks.
Yeah.
We were kind of doing some quick math in the store. And, it was the question of, like, do I do the toe and the rib at the top in a different color, or do I maybe order one of these online, since it is, like, a quasi-commercially produced yarn. So that is a future project.
Can't wait.
Yeah. It'll be good.
Can't wait. My last thing, I also have a stash acquisition. At the same time as Marika bought that, I got this, which is covered in hair. Every time. You think we would, like,
I know,
preview this stuff.
Well, it's so crazy, like, as I'm knitting everything, and I'm like trying to pull my hair out of it, I'm like,
So this is Brooklyn Tweed Loft, and I love it.
That's like your favorite yarn.
My Tecumseh is like my favorite sweater. Because I just love how light it is. It's warm, but if I put it on and I'm a little bit hot, it's not overwhelmingly hot. I just love it. Anyways, so this is the color Amaranth, and I'm going to try to do a weekender in this guy. It's marled, so it's a little bit dark red and bright red. So I'll be interested to see how it looks as a full sweater. But Brooklyn Tweed right now is doing a kind of a give back to their stockists, because a lot of local yarn shops are closed right now. So I'm not sure when it's through, but currently there's tiers. You can choose a 10% discount, a 20%, or a 30% discount, and whichever one you choose will give a percentage to the stockist of your choice to kind of help them through this time. Mm-hmm. So if you choose more of a discount, the stockist gets a little bit less, but they still get something from your purchase, which is a really nice program to have right now. So, of course, I had purchased 2 of these skeins in order to test out the Weekender. I think it's going to be fine. I didn't actually swatch it, but I went ahead and bought 2 more, which is the yardage that I need, and I hit up Wool House because I just love them, and I hope everything's going to be fine through this whole situation. So I'm going to be making a Weekender out of this, and I'm pretty excited about it being, like, I usually gravitate to either, like, crazy pinks or I pretty much, like, only wear black outside of that. So it's going to be nice to have a bright, kind of tearful sweater for rainy days here in LA.
I am also, like, in terms of, like, quarantine knitting and all that kind of stuff, one of my favorite people on Instagram that I follow is Larkabagger. I never know how to say it. I think she's Danish. But she's releasing a pattern on Monday, which will be the, I don't know, what date is it?
Today's the 22nd, so
okay.
It'll be the 23rd.
So it'll be the 23rd of March. And it's called the Alone Together sweater. And it's like kind of like a stash busting sweater. So I'm excited to see that pattern and possibly try it out.
Yeah. Because you were just saying you have tons in your stash right now that you don't have a plan for.
Yeah, I was just back in my little craft closet there, and I was like, oh, I'm seeing all the stuff that I haven't looked at recently, and then there's all this stuff in closed boxes. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what that pattern is and if I could possibly do it and use up some of my stash stuff.
That would be a great idea. Yeah. Stash diving is a good thing to do right now. I know a lot of people are purchasing from local yarn stores that have presence online, which is a good thing to do. And then also a lot of people are like diving into their stash and trying to see what they can make. And part of that, I know Harrisville Nightshades has got certain patterns from a particular designer for free right now. So it seems like people are trying to make their work more accessible to kind of like help everybody out right now, which is kind of a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. And I know we went to a row house knit night in LA, and they're doing virtual knit nights now to kind of help keep the
spirits
community
up.
Yeah, spirits up and community going. So another option.
Yeah.
If you're
looking for things to do right now, since we all have time.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
I think that's it for me.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna. I might actually cast on the Bell Cardi.
You're gonna do
see
it.
the stuff back here that all my test swatches that I showed last time. But yeah, I was like staring at those the other day, and I was like, I might just cast this on to have something more interesting to do.
Yeah, and like because of my love note, I could not be more of an enthusiastic supporter for just casting on things that are ridiculous and grand, large, fluffy, luxurious, like just anything to kind of
brings you joy.
Yeah. Very Marie Kondo right now. But, you know, I think that's why a little bit of my practical knitting is not feeling great. I want to do like ridiculous, indulgent knitting right now. We kind of got cut off, but I encourage everybody to do some indulgent knitting. And happy knitting, everybody.
Yeah, happy knitting.
Cheers. Oh. We're not allowed to tink now that we've drunk out of them. Cheers.
I would say the Martian is definitely not as
okay, thank you, State Farm.
is not quite the same pace as Artemis.
Yeah, I got that it was a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, a lot of potatoes. A lot, like, you know, Artemis has enough science chat to like quench your like, well, how the fuck could you even do this question?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? It's like just
Gravity.
enough to be like, this is how it's plausible.
Yeah.
The Martian is like, let me overwhelm you with all of that information.
Can I read you my composition notebook?
Yeah, let me just go through all my detailed lab notes for like every possible scenario, and then we'll move on to the next plot point.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was for me, but Artemis was.
Yeah.
Going.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Book Corner.
That's our sci-fi fantasy minute.